Hello and a warm welcome to Nationwide on the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. The Managing Director of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, Aminu Umar Sadiq, says the country is still in need of more fertilizer for the country to be secured in food supply. The Managing Director said this in a submission during an investigative hearing by the House Ad Hoc Committee investigating the authority since inception. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Apart from the main Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund to the NSIA, the House Ad Hoc Committee seeks more explanation on other funds like the Abacha loot and how the agency released the sum of 144 billion naira in 2023 through an approval from the presidency. On the issues raised and the NSIA contribution in the production of fertilizer, the Managing Director says the authority has a mandate of creating companies and give waivers for a certain period as capsulated in the annual reports submitted to the National Assembly from 2013 to date.
We have developed and co-developed over 10 institutions and platforms to improve the financial market ecosystem. To name a few, we created a company called InfraCredit, a financial guarantor that motivates domestic capital from pension funds into the infrastructure sector.
The committee chairman requested additional information on the Kano Solar Power Project and detailed sources of funding, including recoveries and stabilization funds.
At the point that Nigeria is now, there is need for transparency and accountability from everybody in public office.
The committee resolved to invite the Auditor General of the Federation, Minister of Finance, and the Central Bank of Nigeria for further clarification to ensure transparency and accountability are adhered by the NSIA. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the management of the National Assembly says it is working towards achieving renewed process of the best legislative practice, especially that of harmonious working relationship with the executive arm. Clerk of the National Assembly, Sani Magaji Tambuwal, at a capacity building workshop for workers of the Federal Parliament in Abuja, said that the idea is to be more staff-centered and to leave an enduring legacy through the institutional reform efforts by the federal government. Again, National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
This training is a critical tool for development and promotion of the organizational growth by the National Assembly, with the theme reorientation for improved productivity and service delivery. The capacity building targeted on some identified issues by the management after an assessment tour of all directorates.
Other topics that we will look at and work include the legislative process and procedure, civil service and financial rules and regulations, and emotional intelligence, among others.
This training is part of our renewed efforts to evolve a more resourceful, professional, and efficient National Assembly bureaucracy that is capable of optimally discharging its statutory responsibility.
The training is expected to help in realizing an improved workforce and institutional structure that would catapult the legislative service to an enviable height. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
The arraignment of the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has been stalled for the second time. Godwin Emefiele, one Saadatu Yaro and a firm linked to Yaro, who is the second defendant in this matter, were to be arraigned before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory. Emefiele and two others are being tried for an alleged procurement fraud running to 6.9 billion naira. The defendants will be facing 20 counts charge preferred against them by the federal government of Nigeria. At the time NTA News visited the court for the adjournment slated for Wednesday, 23rd August 2023, the matter was not listed in the court's list. Emefiele and the two other defendants were equally not in court. It will be remembered that the presiding judge, Justice Hamza Muazu, on Thursday last week adjourned the matter to Wednesday, 23rd August 2023 due to the absence of Sadatu Yaro, who is the second defendant. About 3 months into the current administration at the center, APC's Frontliners Forum has described as remarkable the implementation of the Renewed Hope agenda. This is coming as the association paid a courtesy visit on the national chairman of the governing All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. Political correspondent Abubakar Akwanga has details of these and other activities at the party secretariat.
This is a group of women politicians on the platform of the All Progressives Congress APC who had tested their popularity during different election seasons. Apart from welcoming the national chairman, they have one agenda on the table, and that is to push for more recognition of the women in this new dispensation.
We are requesting the parties to recognize our efforts, and those who contested at the different levels be given due consideration because of our contributions to the growth and success of the party.
Mr. President is doing a lot from what we have seen so far. There are many women as ministers. We assure you, APC will continue to promote women participation.
Ariwa community of APC Southwest and Confederation of APC support groups also came calling. Their mission is to support the party and its leaders on its platform at the national and sub-national levels.
We are here to give you our support to make sure that we turn around APC, reposition it for better tomorrow.
We thank you for all these documents. We'll study them, and we assure you, Mr. President, we'll do something about it.
The national chairman acknowledged the size of the task ahead of the party and urged Nigerians to keep faith with the new administration as measures are being taken to ensure every policy initiated comes with relief and long-term impact. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Despite investments in bridging the water supply gap, which Enugu people had to contend with for decades by administrations and international development organizations, millions of people in Enugu State do not have access to potable water. Determined to tackle this perennial problem, the current administration in the state has set out on a massive intervention work in the water sector, with a time frame within which to change the narrative and give the coal city residents the long-desired relief from water scarcity. Susan Eze is standing by in Enugu to tell us more about what is happening in the water sector. But first, let's take her background report.
Unveiling his manifesto earlier in the year, Governor Peter Mba assured residents of Enugu that with him in power, water scarcity would become history in the city.
So we're going to do a major overhaul. So by the time we address this midstream challenge and the downstream challenge, we would have addressed the problem of water supply, particularly in our urban areas.
3 months into his administration, the sector is currently receiving premium attention, with reactivation works going on at the generation and pumping stations and reticulation plans in progress. The government is confident it will deliver on its promise within the stipulated 180 days, and the residents are optimistic.
The work is massively going in the area of water to make sure that his promise to Enugu comes to reality.
The water project, they observed, will also propel the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal on water, sanitation and hygiene, WASH. The project is on its first phase of urban water supply. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Thank you very much, Susan, for that background report. And Susan, if you are there and you can hear me, can you tell us more about the interventions going on in the water sector and what's the time frame within which to expect results?
All right, thank you. Indeed, there is so much intervention work going on right now across all the water sites in Enugu State. At some of the sites, there's brand new projects going on, while in other sites, there's a consolidation of what has been done by the previous administration. But then the new angle to the old story is that this current administration has given itself a total of 180 days to achieve water in many homes, and this intervention, which is going on at Ajale, Oje River, 9th Mile and other sites, are comprehensive in nature. They are overhauling facilities, they are building new boreholes. A total of 18 boreholes is going on at 9th Mile, and some of them are already functional. Well, to give more insight into some of these projects, I have with me here on site an aide to the governor, special advisor on research, Joshua Eje. Mr. Joshua, please can you tell us, give us an assessment of the projects going on so far and the feasibility of achieving the results at the target time?
Thank you. For now, we've actually done over 60% of the job from the work on grants. You will recall that the governor, Dr. Peter Mba, actually promised the people of Enugu State that in 180 days, he was going to make water available to every home in the metropolis. So, and of course, when he assumed office, he started the project. And what we have now at Oji River, Iva Valley, 9th Mile, and Ajali, from what we have from the work that we've done, and today is making it the 87th day that a assumed office. I can actually say that we've achieved up to 60% of the work. So we are going to meet that target of 180 days, because when you talk about the production rate now at 9th Mile specifically, we've been able, our target is to see that we get or produce up to 60,000 cubic meters, that is 60 million liters of water daily. And you would also recall that after our assessment on the consumption rate of water in Enugu daily, we have up to 100 million liters of water. The people of Enugu capital are consuming up to 100 million liters of water daily. So we are targeting at least 120,000 cubic meters, that is 120 million liters. And then at Oji River and Ajali, we've been able to also get up to 50 million liters of water daily. So we are on it, and we are going to meet the deadline.
So what's in the offering for the rural dwellers, since this project now is for the capital city?
Yes, now the target of the government is that nobody who lives in Enugu State should walk more than 5 minutes before accessing water. So the government has a robust water project for the people living in rural areas, and we've actually started the work. What is there is that we're going to deal, after our geophysical analysis, we've been able to see where we have a high yield water. So we're going to drill industrial boreholes there, and for those places with low yield water, what we're going to have there is target those groundwater, surface water, impound them, treat them, and reticulate. And works are ongoing as we're talking.
Thank you, Mr. Joshua.
You're welcome.
So that is it. 25th of November is the deadline for the 180 days, and the people of Enugu are hopeful as they wait that truly water would run from the taps on that date or before that date. Thank you. It's back to the studio now.
Thank you very much indeed, Susan, for that update. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu felicitates with the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, and the Sokoto Sultanate Council as the royal father and spiritual leader of Muslims in Nigeria turns 67 on the 24th of August 2023. In a statement, President Tinubu shares in this moment of joy and thanksgiving with the leader of the Qadriya Sufi order, who also serves as head of Jamaat Nasr Islam, Society for the Support of Islam, and President General of the Nigerian Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs. The president acknowledges the sacrifices and selflessness of the Sultan of Sokoto, who has, since his assumption of office, worked assiduously for the sustenance of peaceful coexistence in the country and beyond, personally traveling, intervening, mediating, and chairing meetings on the need for harmony. President Tinubu prays for more years of strength, health, and wisdom for His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto. The new Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Nnaji, has set the ball rolling with a new approach and expectations for the science and technology ecosystem. The unconventional strategy, he says, will focus more on innovation and results-oriented actions.
We are here to innovate, not to merely follow routines. Our swift and inventive actions will define us as a ministry driven by innovation. Our leadership in innovation will contribute to the prosperity of our great nation.
Nnaji appealed for unwavering commitment from members of his team to achieve the noble goals of transforming the fortunes of the country and guiding it into the knowledge-based new world economy. In the meantime, the Minister of Power, Adelabu Adebayo, has promised to work with all stakeholders in the power sector to provide optimal solutions for Nigerians' power needs across the nation. Addressing directors, heads of agencies and parastatals under the Ministry of Power as he assumes office, Mr. Adebayo pledged his commitment to achieving success in Nigeria's power sector, leveraging the Nigerian Electricity Act of 2023. The new Electricity Acts have opened a new vista for power provision in Nigeria, also encourages public-private partnership approach towards the provision of electricity.
Our aim is to empower Nigeria through reliable and accessible power, ensuring that every home, industry, school, business benefits from our efforts.
Affirming that the power sector is critical to turning around the economy, he says adequate attention will be given to renewable and alternative energy sources to fast-track access in rural areas. And the two newly sworn-in ministers of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Ngiwa, has assumed duty with a resolute to resolve policies that will empower agencies under his supervision to perform optimally. In his remark, the Minister of State, Housing and Urban Development, Abdullahi Tijani Gorzo, promised to work in line with the renewed hope agenda of transparency, accountability, and good governance. It's now time to join Michael Olaleye from our Lagos Network Center for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Ifoma. Good to see you. The federal government's resilience to re-energize socio-economic life of the people is the motive behind the disbursement of cash and green palliatives to states. While Nigerians continue to applaud the move, there are concerns on how the real beneficiaries will be reached, which stakeholders say will invariably determine the success of the intervention. In this report, correspondent examines criteria for disbursement and how government's intention can be achieved.
It is close to 3 months since subsidy was finally removed on petrol. But the resultant effects are still visible in the daily economic lives of Nigerians. Desirous to change the predicament of the people, governments at all levels have initiated palliatives with Lagos State prioritizing cost of transportation. Today, 36 states are 5 billion naira richer, courtesy of the federal government, and are expected to use the fund in minimizing the effect of subsidy removal on the people.
The extent of support and intervention government does will determine the extent of impact and how to ameliorate and
elevate the situation.
The big question agitating minds of Lagosians is the criteria for disbursement, as they fear manipulation.
They can have a sincere committee that will go to the local government and look at what do they need. You can decide to put up a borehole with that money. People will not buy water, but they will drink from that water. It has impacted into their life.
Since impact is essential in testing the effectiveness of the interventions, stakeholders say moving steps ahead from creating stopgaps to meaningful, sustainable initiatives should be the priority.
Can we channel the same funds into creating empowering atmospheres for people, such that they cannot begin to create wealth themselves?
Financial experts also lauded the post-subsidy intervention of government in the area of distribution of grains, hoping persistence will eventually lead to price stabilization.
It will fight the price of commodity and it will bring it down. This is the time a kind of an agency should stand up to now be going about to monitor prices of commodity.
Although the disbursement of the post-subsidy intervention has commenced in some states, stakeholders called for sincerity of purpose in ensuring that the federal government's efforts becomes impactful as Nigerians navigate through life post-subsidy era. Over 20,000 Nigerian girls are trapped in sub-mining areas in faraway Mali alone. This was disclosed by officials of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. And this has necessitated a collaboration between the agency and commercial transport operators in Lagos as a way of clamping down on the illegal business. Amaka O has details.
This on-the-move transport awareness program by NAPTIP is for road transport operators because transporters are considered key players in trafficking activities, as they are often used by traffickers to convey their victims by road within and outside the country. This engagement, therefore, is to enlighten road users on how to identify perpetrators and steps to take to forestall their ever-changing antics.
They need to be watchful with those they are carrying in their transport, because the people they are carrying, if they are found to be victims of human trafficking, it could lead to a closure of their business. It could also lead to prosecution of such people.
NAPTIP also gave illustrations of past occurrences, citing scenarios that are categorized as trafficking in persons.
A child that is under 12 years under your roof and you are exploiting that child's labor, the child can't grow up to be a useful member of this society. At best, the child will be a violent person. So that is why NAPTIP is against it.
The anti-trafficking agency reiterated that any driver found liable will be prosecuted. Road transport operators promised to support the agency in winning the fight against human trafficking in the country.
Train our drivers. Beyond that, we also make sure we educate them on the need, not just for human trafficking per se, even drug, contraband. We even get the custom to talk to us.
The agency also advised road transport operators to always request for clearance certificates from the agency, especially from passengers making group and online bookings to legitimize their travel. Lagos, Hamaka O, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages. And
the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has reiterated his firm commitment that police under his watch will focus more on community policing to stem the tide of insecurity in different communities in Nigeria. He stated this at the stakeholders meeting held at the state police headquarters in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Wasiu Rauf has the details.
Addressing the stakeholders, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, who was on a two-day official working visit to the state, noted that the issue of security should not be the sole responsibility of Nigeria Police Force, hence the need for collaborative efforts of all stakeholders to tackle it.
And making sure that we apply the best method to solve problems of crimes in each of the communities.
He therefore charged them to support Nigerian police on the new approach adopted on community policing to get rid of criminal elements in various communities to make the nation secure and safe for everyone to live. The acting Inspector General of Police also used the occasion to address agitations of officers and men of the Nigerian police force. Some of the stakeholders at the meeting held the view that if properly and adequately supported without sabotage, this will address cases of insecurity in the country.
This is our police to police us and our property, so we will support the Nigerian police.
The meeting was well attended by stakeholders across different communities in Ogun State, in Ibadan. Asil NTA News.
To develop the agricultural sector, especially at the grassroots, the first phase of a 21-kilometer road in Yewa North local government area of Ogun State has been inaugurated for use. Yemi Dalimo reports that Governor Dapo Abiodun inaugurated the project.
The road, which had been in a bad condition before the reconstruction, will now mitigate flooding, which has been a major challenge facing them in the area, and as well enable the smooth transportation of farm produce, commuters and motorists to and from the rural communities. Governor Abiodun noted that reconstruction of the federal road will ease movement of people and alleviate the suffering of those plying the road. Governor Dapo Abiodun says his administration is poised to making Yewa North and Imekoafon local governments the food basket of the state and cite a rice development and processing center in the district, urging the paramount ruler of Yewa land, Obakende Olugbele, and other monarchs in the land to make available 20,000 hectares of land for the project.
The provision of needed infrastructure is our priority and is very key. Bringing agricultural products to the hinterland is mostly through this road.
And I commend him for promising us that he's going to uplift this road, and he did as he said.
The first phase of the Itaoshin-Ayutoro Road, inaugurated by the governor, is a single carriageway which passes through Iboro, Imashayi, Ajano, and Ikosi village, while the reconstruction of the second phase will soon commence. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. More reports in Abuja with Informites. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Kemi. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris Malagi, performs his first official function as he engages council members of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPR, led by its president, Mukhtar Sirajo. The minister says national orientation will serve as the core mandate of the new ministry under his leadership. He urged members of the Governing Council of NIPR to take the lead of national reorientation. The minister restates commitment to lead a ministry that will be accountable and transparent to Nigerians. The United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, has assured the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, of their commitment to support the humanitarian response and poverty alleviation with $270 million. A statement by Deputy Director Information, Rhoda Ishaku Ilia, says country representative of UNICEF, Christian Mundate, led the Chief of Health and HIV, stated this during a visit to the minister in Abuja. The UNICEF chief also assured of technical support to build capacity of the ministry's staff, as well as support the development of a humanitarian response protocol for Nigeria to guide all humanitarian actors. The minister, Dr. Betta Edu, informed the delegation that the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is committed to lifting 133 million poor Nigerians out of poverty in a phased approach. She also charged UNICEF to draw up plans towards supporting the federal government on poverty alleviation. It is 12 years since the National Youth Service Orientation Exercise eluded Borno with the closure of the camp due to activities of Boko Haram insurgents. The historic return of the orientation camp to Borno, with over 1,000 core members participating in the exercise, and will be posted within the state is a clear reminder that peace has come to stay. Treasure Jonah will tell us the rest.
For the first time in 12 years of conducting orientation exercises in other states, Borno State witnessed the arrival of over 1,223 Batch B Stream 2 Corps members deployed to the state for the National Youth Service Corps scheme. In less than a week, a temporary camp at the Mustafa Umar El Kanemi Arabic Teachers College, Maiduguri, was organized for the arriving Corps members and security beefed up to guarantee their safety.
I assure you all that in no distant time, Borno State will become one of the NYSC most friendly states among the community of states in Nigeria.
Corps members drawn from across the country shared experiences and expressed delight coming to Borno State.
Orientation camp has been made very conducive for us.
At first I felt bad because I heard so many bad things about Borno State, but I'm impressed. Everywhere is peaceful.
Tailors, food vendors, and other petty traders within the camp thank God for peace and appreciated the efforts of Governor Babagana Umara Zulum for the return of NYSC camp to the state. In Maiduguri, Treasure Jonah, NTA News.
And standing by at the NYSC temporary orientation camp in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, to tell us what is happening there is Kaigama Mustafa. It's over to you now, Mustafa.
Yes, more than 1,161 Corps members were deployed for the orientation here, but only 1,125 registered for the camp exercise. People of Borno are also happy for the relocation of temporary orientation camp in the state. In terms of security-wise, the police commissioner of the state has assured of the deployment of more security personnel at the entrance points and the other strategic locations within the camp, and also the perimeter fence to ensure protections of lives and properties of the prospective Corps members. With me,
okay, go on.
With me here is the coordinator of the camp. Can you tell us how the emergency preparation and the situation on ground now?
Well, the situation on ground is everything is going on as planned. The Governor of Borno State was able to put all these hostels, bathrooms, everything together within a week of notice that the NYSC gave the state government.
The National NYSC Service Corps has now reopened another temporary orientation camp. Is there any move to reopen the permanent camp?
Yes, the state government has assured us, and already the bill of quantities and other things have been submitted to the state government, and we have been fully informed that there is every possibility the next camp after this one will be holding at the permanent orientation camp.
The National Youth Service Corps Borno State was closed in 2011. That is exactly 12 years ago. The activities of Boko Haram, which posed the location of orientation activities to some states across the country, include Gombe, Bauchi, Kano, Katsina, Benue, and Jigawa State. I think with the relative peace enjoyed here in the state, the Corps members posted to Borno will enjoy their service years in Borno as the home of peace.
You all, and we are glad to know that the Corps members there will be safe. Thank you very much. Now, after an intensive 4-year period of collaboration among esteemed academics, the National Universities Commission, NUC, has unveiled a comprehensive blueprint aimed at bolstering academic standards within Nigerian universities. The blueprint, which is the culmination of extensive brainstorming session, was unveiled during a high-profile stakeholders colloquium in Abuja. Abdul Malik Hassan reports.
At the heart of the colloquium was a focused discussion on the core curriculum and minimum academic standards. Members of the academia convened to delve deeply into these critical aspects. reflecting the commitment of the educational community towards elevating the quality of higher education in the country.
Of the 60 months went through a profoundly vigorous and painstaking process by teams of experts drawn from the nation's universities, comprising professors, professional and regulatory bodies, while the private sector was represented by the Nigerian Economic Summit Group and all other relevant stakeholders. This principle allows for a good deal of adaptation that suits not only local peculiarities of the universities, but most importantly, provides all universities opportunities to carve a niche for themselves in areas of comparative advantage.
A paper presentation was made during the session to shed light on the intricacies of the new curriculum.
The curriculum, the main concern was the relevance and adequacy of the curriculum to the needs of Nigeria. We cannot continue to have our universities and we don't see the benefits that society derives from the university system. That means we have serious issues.
Deliberations also focused on shared dedication to ensure its seamless implementation, which progressive measures are slated to be rolled out starting September 2023. Meanwhile, the blueprint introduces a transformative shift in educational landscape, introducing 17 disciplines that will define the academic landscape of Nigerian universities by aligning courses with contemporary needs and global trends. Abdulmalik Hassan, NTA News.
The National Defense College is upscaling the capacity of security agencies and selected stakeholders in the area of inter-agency collaboration in view of the complex security environment. The capacity building through the Strategic National Security Exercise codenamed STRANEX involves aspects of logistics, planning, counter-terrorism. This is also to expose participants to the art of decision-making during crisis management using elements of national power and the application of the National Security Strategy 2019.
Preparing future strategic leaders so that they can bring their own efforts and their own experiences to bear in our efforts to tackle insurgency and indeed all forms of violent crimes as witnessed in the country. And if need be, if they have to go out, you also realize going around that we have some participants from other friendly countries.
A capstone exercise for members of the National Defense College Course 31 and Services War Colleges. Thanks for staying. The NDLEA has declared wanted a suspected drug dealer, Shoumi Ayodeji Kayode, in Lekki, Lagos State, who fled after using his car to injure an NDLEA officer during a search of his house. NDLEA says the officers had raided his residence based on intelligence about his involvement in illicit drug activities. The search of his house resulted in the discovery of 10.5 kilograms of a substance called Loud, while the injured officer is now receiving medical treatment. We'll bring you details of that report subsequently. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, said it has arrested 13 suspects and intercepted 5 trucks used in conveying large quantities of vandalized rail tracks concealed inside iron scraps worth several millions of naira. The Commandant General Ahmed Abubakar Audi, represented by the Director of Public Relations, Babawale Afolabi, urged heads of security operatives across the Federation to caution their respective officers at the various checkpoints against unprofessional conduct. Dennis Temple has more.
These are red tracks and they are national assets which are very critical to the overall economic well-being of the nation. But recently, vandals have found safe haven in cutting them away for their selfish interests. However, men of the Security and Civil Defense Corps are not resting on their oars in checkmating their illegal activities. Parading some of the suspects who were intercepted with their trucks along Kafanchan and Kaduna states, the Commandant General says the arrest was made possible by his Special Intelligence Squad, who were on specialized operations. He wants other sister agencies to beef up intelligence and safeguard the country's critical national assets and infrastructure.
The arrest was made along 5 different routes and stolen items recovered in the following categories. Category 1, the suspects and exhibits are A. Abubakar Muhammad, age 47, from Gombe State, is a driver of one of the trucks.
Some of the suspects who spoke on their level of involvement claimed ignorance of their actions. However, the railway district manager in charge of the North Central District said the items recovered are worth several millions of naira.
I've seen some of the things there that we can still redeploy to use, especially the UIC 50 slippers is still useful, and that is why government called on security agencies to come to the aid of Nigerian Railway Corporation.
Full-scale investigation to unravel those involved in the illicit act is still ongoing. In Abuja, Dennis Temple, NTA News.
Let's join Nana for more updates from our Sokoto Network Center. Hello, Nana.
Thank you for joining us here in Sokoto. Governor Ahmed Ali has sworn in commissioners and charged them to prioritize due process. The 25-member cabinet took the oath of office at Kasarawa International Conference Center amidst supporters and well-wishers. Alhatu Abdullahi reports.
As Commissioner of the Department of Justice.
These are the 25 members of the new cabinet taking oath of office. Governor Ahmed Aliyu reminded them of the challenges ahead of his administration, stressing that people of the state expect much from them. He therefore challenged them to brace up for the task ahead. Governor Aliyu further stressed that the principle of due process must be strictly followed through proper channels and documentation. He also reminded them that they were selected from many qualified individuals for their integrity to serve people of the state to the best of their ability, and that they can be redeployed from one ministry to another.
You shall therefore handle all official matters in accordance with the secrecy that you have just been sworn into.
Press Secretary to the Governor, Abubakar Bawa, later announced designation of portfolios to the new commissioners, in which Sambu Bello Danchadi was sent to Ministry of Information, Muhammad Jabi Shagari, Finance, Aisha Balarabe, Ministry of Health, while Barrister Nasiru Muhammad Benji is the new Commissioner of Justice. Others are Religious Affairs, with Dr. Jabir Sani Mehullah as Commissioner, Environment, Nura Shehu Tangaza, Water Resources, Yusuf Muhammad Machido, Land and Housing has Nasiru Aliyu Dansoho, while Women and Children Affairs has Hadiza Shagari, and Muhammadu Tukur Al-Ali and Aminu Abdullahi here will serve as commissioners of basic and secondary education as well as higher education. In Sokoto, Alhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Joint National Association of Persons Living with Disabilities has demanded that 5% of the 5 billion naira palliative be given to each state to in each state to be allocated to persons living with disabilities in the states. The national president of the association, Abdullahi Aliyu Usman, made the call while speaking to NTA News. Abdullahi Umar Ilulu reports.
Section 25 of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act provides that in situations of risk or humanitarian emergencies, persons living with disabilities should be accorded preference and protection. It is in line with this provision that persons with disabilities are demanding for 5% of the federal government's palliative. The national president of Joint National Association of Persons Living with Disabilities, Abdullahi Usman Aliyu, explained that the impact of the subsidy removal has continued to have a debilitating impact on their members who are largely poor and vulnerable. The disabled persons also charged the government to present their palliatives through their organizations, who are more conversant with their wants and challenges.
5% allocated supposed to go directly to the person with disability. We have organization of person with disability where we know ourselves, we know where we are staying, we know where we are sleeping, we know where we are sitting. So if the money is allocated to the person with disability organization, definitely they will know how to distribute this money.
Abdullahi Usman added that the inability of the disabled persons to afford decent food, healthcare and necessities of life have been compounded and made worse with the fuel subsidy removal in the country. Abdullah Omar Ilalu, NTA News.
Well, that's our contribution here in Sokoto. Nationwide continues with Ifoma in Abuja. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dana. Sports Development Minister vows to improve facilities nationwide on a day Nigeria athletes shine in international tournaments. These on Sports Updates with Ayodiji Makinde.
Minister of Sports Development John Eno says the days of non-effective use and maintenance of sports infrastructure across the country are over, as the ministry will take pragmatic steps to end the anomaly. The minister disclosed this after inspecting facilities at packages A and B of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja.
The kind of treatment and the kind of things that we put in place for the comfort of our athletes remains very, very critical in terms of what the goal and the objective and the winning of the laurels that this country so desires.
In another development, Nigeria's Temitope Hassan Olashupo is through to the semi-final of the ICF Kano Sprint and Para-Kano World Championship in Duisburg, Germany, after clocking a time of 46.98 seconds. Team Nigeria is represented by 3 athletes, including Samuel Dagba and Captain Moses Michael, at the Olympic qualifying tournament, which ends August 27. Moving on to the World Athletics Championships in Budapest, Hungary, Alaba Akintola is through to the semi-final of men's 200 meters after Frenchman Ryan Zeze was disqualified for a false start but chose to run under protests. The race was won by Oregon 2022 silver medalist Kenny Bednarek in 20.01 seconds, ahead of Alexandra Ogando in 20.14 seconds, while Zizi crossed the line third and Alaba fourth in 20.54 seconds. In the meantime, Favor Ofili has advanced to the women's 200 meters semis after securing the first non-automatic spot, as a time of 22.66 seconds was the 16th fastest overall. 5 Africans will represent the continent in the semis, with African champion Gina Bass of the Gambia, Ivorian trio of Maria Ozetalu, Mabundu Kone and Jessica Gbai also making it through to the next round. With sports updates, Ayodiji Makinde, NTA News.
And that's it on Nationwide for today. We thank you for watching. I am Ifoma Ojinta. Bye for now.